Are you an investor or a first time buyer who's looking to buy more income producing property? But when you go to the bank, they say no. Well, the reason they say no is because traditional mortgage loans simply do not work for investors. And they're going to continue to prevent you from building wealth. My name is Athena Chalikas Barocas. I'm a top producer and award winning realtor with Coldwell Banker here in sunny South Florida. I'm also the host and producer of the SoFlo Real Estate Show. On today's video, you will learn about what we are calling the no doc rental loan. This is a loan that's going to allow you to buy rental properties over and over and over again and build wealth. If you know somebody who's interested in building wealth through real estate, this is a great video to share. So let's get to it. Let me welcome my guest, Danny Badoon of FCM Home Loans. Danny, I love having you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Athena, and I love being on your show. So thank you for having me once again.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited about this topic. I've been talking to investors, first-time home buyers, especially my first-time home buyers, because what we're going to talk about today can be life-changing.
I agree.
When you look at, we like statistics. You and I love statistics. When you look at the statistics of people who own property and those who don't own property, the net worth of someone who owns property, whether it's their primary or investment property, is 43 times greater than somebody who doesn't. That's an outstanding, incredible statistic.
Yes, it is. It's pretty incredible. And to piggyback off that, so the great Robert Barron and millionaire prototype Andrew Carnegie once said that 90% of millionaires become so through real estate ownership. So it's never a wrong time to own real estate, but there are better times.
There are. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been selling real estate for 20 years. I have seen every market twice over. And the one
Yes.
thing I do tell my clients, regardless of the market, jump in. Real estate is the best way to grow wealth, regardless of where you are in the market, regardless of price, and regardless of interest rates.
Agreed.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the no doc rental loan. And I love the term right there, no doc rental
Yes.
loan. I think it doesn't get any more clear than that.
Pretty much.
But what I want you to do, Danny, is start from why traditional mortgage loans do not work when you're trying to build wealth via real estate acquisition. Why don't they
Yes.
work for the common investor?
And before we do, you want to talk about the rates for today?
Yeah, let's do it. I love it.
Okay. Well, just for the audience to know, so mortgage rates as a precursor are tied, directly correlated to the 10-year treasury, indirectly correlated when the Fed say we're raising rates. There's a cause and effect when say indirectly, it's only because there's other extenuating circumstances as they're trying to hedge inflation. So there's the correlation of the indirectness. So today's 10-year treasury is about 4.5%. That is record high. It's unprecedented. Just from April until today, April of this year, we're at 3.2%. So you can clearly see just in the last few months, it's went up 130 basis points, which is pretty significant.
That is significant.
So, yes. Now, segueing into that, why are these type of loans more than ever becoming so, well, they've always been very powerful, but more than ever. I mean, most entrepreneurs, most investors are pretty leveraged. They have a lot of moving parts. And the tax codes were built for a reason, for people who are smart enough or rich enough or wealthy enough or just smart, clever enough to want to use the tax system to their advantage. So a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners and real estate investors do just that. So when you do that, I mean, there's always the pros and cons. There's way more pros than outweigh the cons. However, one of the cons, I guess, very loosely put is, you're too much write-offs, too much appreciation. Obviously, we're not accountants here. Please consult with your accountant. But your adjusted gross income or your K1, which is your profit distribution, usually shows very little profit or income, whether it's a Schedule C or Schedule K, to go report it to the lenders in order to say, hey, I qualify under a full documentation or traditional loan. So that eliminates that issue. Investors are sophisticated. When you're purchasing a primary home, as you know, it's an emotional attachment. It's an emotional transaction. When it comes to investments, it's probably 10% emotion, 90% all business and all numbers and all metrics.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like the precursor to why business owners or investors like to jump on these type of loans. There is no income qualification. There's no W-2s. There's no nothing. It's just asset and credit score.
Yeah. And I liked what you said. First of all, let's talk about an investor and their property. They are leveraged and they don't qualify for the regular mortgage loan. Just like if you know someone who is a non W-2 employee, you take those expenses to offset your income, to offset your taxes. And at the end of the year, the deductions are very good. But those
Yes.
deductions, when your bank looks at them, doesn't like what they see. They see, no, you have no income. But you're like, no, I do have income. My
Yeah,
property has $700,000 of equity in
exactly.
it, right? I
Yep.
run my rentals at the highest value. I do everything as an investor should do. And what does the
Yep.
bank say? The bank says, no, you're over
Yes.
leveraged. You don't have the income and we're not giving you a loan.
Yep. That's
And
exactly correct.
so, as an investor, you go, okay, now what do I do? I did my job, but now I want to go out and buy another property. Or a first time buyer who can't get into the regular market because of whatever the reasons might be can use this as a way of getting into the housing market. And
Yes.
so this is why I'm so excited, Danny, to go into this. So,
Yes, for
and
sure.
go into it somewhat logically because there's so much good information. And at the end of the video, we're going to have an opportunity to get some questions answered, hopefully, or be able to go back out there and answer questions as a result of this. So I'm really excited. So
Me
let's
too.
talk about how the no doc rental loan actually is determined. We used to have, when we go into primary traditional loans, loan to value, income, and all that. But with the non-doc rental loan, we have the DCSR, and that's really income and expense ratio more so than a loan to value ratio. Correct?
Correct. There are multiple factors, but that is one. So just so the audience knows, a DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, you're taking the total income, you're dividing it into the total carrying cost, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and any homeowners association. And then you need a debt ratio. And that ratio needs to be 1 to 1 or higher. That's a traditional debt service ratio loan. But the no doc rental loan actually is more aggressive than that, even. So, however you want to start talking, I can talk because those are technically two different types of loans that's very exciting that we can talk about.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Let's stick with the non-doc rental loan for today.
Okay.
That sounds
So,
good.
so based on the aforementioned that I just said. So again, lenders are looking for 1 to 1 or better. And the better it is, the better the rate, the better the loan to value, the whole 9 yards. With the no doc rental loan, basically, or no doc rental loan, DSCR, it does not have to meet that qualification anymore. So if your rental income is less than your carrying cost, as long as you have a 700 plus score, you're going to have to put more of a down payment. So with the traditional, I'm going to call it traditional, though DSCR is non-traditional, but for this conversation, for the traditional DSCR, you could go as low as 20% down or 80% loan to value. And then obviously it gets more aggressive the better the credit score, the more down payment, the whole 9 yards on the interest rate. So this loan really is all about, so the lender is saying, hey, since property values are going up like crazy right now, and they're going to continue to go up based upon the pure metrics of supply and demand, we're going to forecast the future worth of the rental property. The future value, we should say, the future value and the future appreciation of rental, income. So that's kind of the precursor to it all.
Okay, very good. So a lot of opportunity here is what I'm hearing,
Yes,
which
yes,
is
a lot,
exciting.
a lot.
And we are going to be talking about purchasing, But I don't want to miss one point, and that is the importance of refi and how these loans can be utilized for refinance purposes and why this is so important to our investor population to be able to do that. Can you go
Yes.
into a couple of the different reasons why investors should look at this type of loan for a refi purpose?
Yeah, I mean, you could refi for as simple as just lowering your rate. And obviously, the lower the rate, the lower the carrying cost, the higher the income. That's number one, right? You want to change your loan terms, and then reduce your monthly payment to pay. You can pay it off faster. You want to pull out some equity on the home. You want to do some rehab on your current home, or simply pull out some equity in order, or leverage yourself to buy another property. So, like we say in the investment world, OPM, other people's money. So you pull out that money and you reinvest it, and you rinse and repeat and do it all over again.
Which is what investors want to do.
Yes,
Right? I
exactly.
mean, to have all this equity sitting in one property and not being able to use it to invest and grow wealth, um, this is why this product is so exciting.
It
So
is.
I'm really excited. So, what are the three things that we should know, our audience should know about these type of loans?
I would say you got to have a minimum of a for the rental, the they call it non DSCR. You need to have a 700 plus score. Where on DSCR you could go as low as 630 in some instances, or 680 is more preferred. You need to have a minimum of 25% down, versus you could go 20% with DSCR in a lot of circumstances. And the this particular program is usually going to be about a 1/4% or 25 basis points higher than a traditional DSCR loan. And you're probably going to need about 2 months of post closing reserves. Reserve just means they want to see in the bank account principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and any homeowner dues that are sitting in the bank account after all down payment and closing costs are paid.
Okay, all right, so that's not bad. That sounds pretty reasonable,
I think
actually.
so. I
I
think
think
so.
so. An investor should be able to handle that. What type of properties are good or are targeted for this? Are we
Yeah,
talking 10 doors or are we talking 2 to 4 doors maximum? What type of properties?
yeah, you could do, great question. You could do single family. You could do up to 4 units, 1 to 4 units. You can do condo hotels. You could do non-warrantable condominiums. And there's even some of my correspondent lenders that I could work through that will go up to 8 units on case by case circumstance if the situation makes sense.
Oh, great, great. So there's a lot of flexibility in the types of properties as well. So
Absolutely.
basically, a lender can buy any property
Yep.
within those parameters. And there's a lot of
Yep.
choices, Danny.
There is, and I even have some private lenders that I work with, um, that are short-term lenders, and they really have some really. I have one that's extremely flexible. Like, they don't say, "Hey, it's got to fit this box, take it or leave it." They say, "Show me the deal, and if it makes if it makes dollars, it makes sense." That's really all they're looking for. And this is one of my private lenders that are very, very aggressive in all 50 states to make a deal go through for an investor, from rehabs to just straight up purchases, you name it, they do it. It's usually under 12 months. They prefer 6 to 12 months, but that's another conversation or another podcast in itself.
Another podcast, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. So Danny, you have quite a few different clients that have used these types of programs.
I
Can you
have.
give us a couple examples of how this worked and what they were able to accomplish? I love storytelling for our audience because it really makes it real. So
It,
I'd
it,
love
it
for you to
really
share
does.
something with
They
us.
tell you facts tell, stories sell, right?
There you go.
Yeah, so I have a few case studies. I mean, one is as of recent. She's pretty leveraged. She's her only income coming in is from her rental income, and there's no way traditional financing she'll ever get approved because, again, she's taking full advantage in a good way off the tax code. So she's maybe only showing very little per month, but she quit her day job and she's basically living off her rental income. So she's obviously doing very
She's
well.
doing quite well for herself.
She is. And so she came, she's like, Dan, I got another great property. I don't want to lose it. What can I do? I go, beautiful. I go, can you show me 12 preferably 24 months of bank statements. She's like, yes. I go, how's your credit score? She's like, pretty good, even though, I have a bunch of properties on my name. She's like, I go, you're at least over a 680? And she's like, yes. I was like, preferably over 700. She's like, yes, I got you. And I go, how much money do you want to go down? She automatically just said, I want to go 30% down. I go, beautiful. I go, send me your bank statements. Let's take a look at what you got going on here. And so we and then show me the rentals of that area. Though we're going to get an appraiser that is going to do the rental comp, right? We call that a 1007 form in the appraisal world. And then so she ran the comps. We did everything we had to do. She showed the assets are sitting there in reserves, the whole 9 yards, and boom, we found that she got the property. We got her approved, and she's rehabbing the house as we speak right now, and she's getting ready to flip it.
That is awesome. So was this a duplex or triplex?
Yes,
It was a
it was a
duplex.
multifamily duplex. Correct.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So for our first time buyers out there who want to be investors, a duplex is an awesome way to begin.
It is a phenomenal way. And if I'm not sure if you want to talk about this segment or not, if you want to talk about multifamily and how you could even get in with less than 20% down, it could be this segment or another. You tell
Okay, the
me.
next segment we'll do. But
Okay.
going back to your case study right now, that was
Yes,
an incredible way to get into the market.
it was.
And
It
did she
was.
have to show rental income for both units? Because she's living in one.
Well,
So in order to qualify, just so our audience understands this.
yes, in this particular scenario, we had to show the one, and then and that was really it, right?
Okay.
But as long as the one meets the debt service, then she was perfectly fine, right? It meets
Okay.
the criteria.
The criteria.
Yes,
That is wonderful. That is a success story,
it
Danny.
is. It was really, really good. And now she's already looking at other properties.
So
She
what is
she's
she going to do? She's going to maintain this one as an investment property. And is she going to pull equity out in order to buy the next one? What is her plan so we can take our audience from step one to step two?
Yeah, this particular one, she's going to fix, rent, and flip. That's what she's
Ah,
doing.
okay.
Yes.
All
She's
right.
doing a fix, rent, and flip. There's many ways to skin the cat on this one, right?
Exciting, exciting. But
Yes,
everybody has a different plan.
correct.
And, I kind of just want to segment out of this for just a quick second and talk about the importance of working with someone, whether it's your realtor, your, loan officer, your CPA, someone, but you need to create a strategy,
Yes.
right? You get
That
that first property and it's exciting, but you have to have a strategy over time of what you want to do. So this gal here was a fix and flip it because she knew what
yes.
she wanted to do and how she's going to build her wealth. And
The,
so I give a lot of credit to you, Danny, to lead her through that scenario
yep.
and lead her
Thank
to
you.
success because I know you're very good at this. And that's why
Thank you. And
I'm happy to have you on.
thank you so
Let's
much.
go back to the document here. There's how do we get approved for this? There's pretty much three criteria for approval, correct?
Yes. So it's very simple, really. They just have to fill out the loan application. It's just a link that I send them over text message or email. We pull their credit, and I request for their bank statements, and that's it.
That's it.
That's the initial step one, and then we just run the rental comps, make sure that the rental comps are there, and you got a deal.
Yeah, yeah. So, what's the best way that someone does this? They fill out their application and they go to identify a property. Is there a rule of thumb as far as because they don't want to spend a lot of money on appraisal, right? Is
Correct.
there a rule of thumb as far as how to best identify maybe a duplex? We can
Yes.
start very, a smaller property, a duplex, and how to identify what property may or may not work for this process.
Well, and that's a good question. So there is minimum purchase prices on these, right? The DSCR, some banks will go as low as 150. On this particular one, it's 250. So there are some minimum criteria as well from the purchase price. As far as what to look for, I always tell them, listen, you could go as simple as going to realtor.com. If you want to just do something quick and dirty, go on to realtor.com, look up rents in the zip codes that you're interested in. and try. I go with you, not being an appraiser, I tell them, and not getting me involved just yet, because I'll do some of my recon for them too once they're ready. But do
Right.
step one. So look what the rentals are going for what's a 2 bedroom, 2 unit, 2 bathroom, whatever it is. Compare and contrast so you're not wasting your time and we're not wasting everybody's time, because time is valuable. So once they say, hey, I think I found a good property. Here's the price point. Here's the rentals in the area. Can you reaffirm it for me, Danny? Then I'll go up there and I'll say, okay, this looks viable, because again, I don't want to waste my correspondent lenders' time too, because if they see me give them a very bunch of non sophisticated loans, or like they haven't been vetted properly, they stop getting excited about working with you. So I got to do my part so they're excited. Every time I bring them a deal, they know there's a very good probability it's going to go through.
Okay. All right. So that's good advice. Fill out the loan application.
Yes.
Look at rentals in the area to make sure that the
Yes.
property they're identifying will somehow meet that criteria. And
Correct.
then go back to you or their loan
Correct.
officer, hopefully yourself, so that
Yes.
way you can do an analysis before that property goes into the system.
That's exactly correct. And then, I tell them, obviously there's the once you get into more than 2 units, there's the FHA. Well, this is not really DSR. Actually, let's skip that. Yeah, yeah. I apologize. Uh, I have it on my mind because, yeah, I apologize.
We'll do that for another podcast as well.
Yes, 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 yes,
Okay, but that's great advice, because we don't want our investors, our first time investors, spending a lot of time and money, looking at properties that don't make sense. And for you to be able to do that high level evaluation with them, that
yes.
is incredible. And not everybody does that, Danny. So
No,
I
listen,
commend your service.
that's exactly. Thank you. And you understand it more than anybody else. I mean, our job for the layperson is a commodity. So how do you take something that we do as a realtor like yourself, or as a lender as myself? How do we take something ordinary and make it extraordinary? And we make it extraordinary by going over and above the call of duty. That's really the bottom line.
It is, and you do that. So I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
And
And
you
I
do
love
too.
when we work with our clients and make, magic happen for them. So
Yes,
that's fabulous.
yes. It's
So as
magical.
we wrap up here, share with us the 4 tips of success. What are the 4 things that you would recommend for somebody to be successful in this program?
Yeah, I would say definitely choose your property wisely. I would definitely say prep your credit accordingly, right? And
Yep.
then I would go to say, I would say gather proof of assets early, and I would have proof of rents ready, which is what we basically just discussed. And those are the main 4 things right there. Then you come to your lender, get the application going, like we mentioned, get the credit. We'll pull the credit, and then let us do our magic.
Great. You made the process sound super, super simple. And I guess in reality, it's really not that complicated, is it?
It's really not. It
It's
really
really not.
isn't.
And,
No.
for our audience out there, investment properties are such a great way of building income. For our first time buyers, it's a great way to get into real estate, and buying a primary home is just a little bit outside of your budget. And there's so many different ways that you can take one rental property and duplicate your efforts and get so much more out of real estate. And so, if you're interested in learning more about no doc rental income loans or any kind of loans in real estate as far as investment, contact myself, contact Danny. We are both here and we would be more than happy to help you, grow your real estate investments and also build wealth via real estate. Danny, any last words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. Tell me who your rental properties are, and I'll tell you who you are.
Very good. Danny, thank you again for being here. It's always a pleasure, and thank you for bringing such wealth of information.
Thank you, Athena. Thank you very much. And it's always a pleasure to work with you, hang out with you, talk with you, because you are definitely you're a master of your craft. So I appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Danny, and right back to you. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye bye.